Hi everyone, welcome to our AT presentation on the Anywhere Swing. I'm Luke Drohan. This is Kaylin Hill and Alexa Salmon.
So our client's name is Nina. She's a third grader with a diagnosis of spastic cerebral palsy. She is experiencing poor postural control and balance, decreased core strength and truncal control, and thus creating barriers to social participation and play due to inaccessibility issues to her playground structures. This is at school and also outside of school as well, like at her local neighborhood parks. So we wanted to come up with a mobile adaptive swing that she could clip into any swing set anywhere to enable her to play with her peers and enhance her play and social participation. Next slide, please. So approaches to intervention, we focus on modifying and establish and restore. According to the OTPF, we modified the activity demands of the environment by incorporating the use of our design, which is an adaptive swing. We matched her levels of functioning so that she was able to also participate with other children. For establish and restore, the OTPF states that this approach is focused on changing client variables to establish new skills. This design will encourage her to build her trunk muscles and balance while engaged in play. So we're really working on establishing those new skills with her. Next slide, please. Frames of reference that helped us guide our intervention is the Ecology of Human Performance Model, or EHP, and the biomechanical frame of reference. EHP really allowed us to look at in depth her contextual barriers, mainly her accessibility to a swing set or to a playground structure that can meet her where she's at. So we wanted to adapt the swing to match her current level of functioning. With the biomechanical frame of reference, it really helped us consider the gravitational demands of physics on the body. Its focus is on remediation and increasing strength and range of motion and endurance. So by decreasing gravitational demands and establishing proper body alignment with the swing, we hope that she's able to strengthen her truncal muscles while engaged in a neutral pelvic tilt to support her postural alignment.
When we were looking at the research out there, we chose to focus on 3 different ideas. One was positioning of the client in the swing, allowing for pelvic and trunk alignment and posture control, and the opportunity to increase play participation and social participation. We added different components to incorporate the intervention approaches that Kaylin spoke about in the swing. So working on supporting their own core or pumping their legs on their own for strength, or they can focus more on the adaptation of quality of the swing. And then we also wanted to consider visual development for social participation in play, so they can look out into the park and see other people. Next slide. There's 4 reasons for device abandonment, and we wanted to make sure we addressed all 4 of them. We made the swing relevant to different diagnoses, so not only for Nina and children with cerebral palsy. We also wanted to make it age appropriate in the sense that it can be for any age since there's different sizing. And we wanted it to be user-friendly and instructions on how to use it to be clear and intuitive. Also, material choice to make it lightweight so that they can transfer easily from point A to B, and it can be able to withstand the outdoor conditions. Next slide. What else is out there? Again, we wanted to focus on the swing being available in different sizes. As you can see in the second picture, that swing was way too big for him. And then in the very last picture, it's more reclined. We wanted ours more forward so that they could see out. And we didn't want it to be a costly installation cost. So you can bring it to the park, set it on a swing, and link it to the chains instead of having to install an entire frame or an entire new park setup. Next slide. This is what we started out with. So we addressed the leg cutout so that they could pump the swing on their own. It folds down in the middle, and it has a harness to support them from leaning forward too much. And then our final design is on the next slide, which Luke will talk about. Can you unmute your mic, Luke?
So this is a Tinkercad of our final product. It's specifically designed to have an adjustable base that fits over standard belt style swing seats. It has 4 industrial strength carabiners rated up to 500 pounds for easy connection to the change. And it has extra long upper carabiners that provide freedom of movement for a flexible backrest, and a removable headrest that offers cervical support to those who need it while doubling as a handle. We came up with 3 intervention strategies. One is to educate and train teachers or recess aides on proper setup and how to ensure proper positioning, a neutral pelvic tilt to enable development of postural control and strengthen trunk muscles. 2, to educate and train teachers and or parents on ways to involve other children with swinging, such as making it into a game where one child has to run across while Nina swings upwards, or another child could push Nina in the swing or swing next to her to increase social participation. And 3, to educate and train on device care and maintenance, setting it up, packing it away, and wiping it down when it gets dirty, and keeping it out of direct sunlight for a prolonged amount of time. To maintain interest while still accomplishing goals, the swing should be used at a frequency of 3 times per week during recess or at home for a minimum of 20 minutes. And we looked at hippotherapy interventions, and they had similar interventions time-wise. So our solution offers flexible trunk support, allowing and encouraging users to engage core muscles while providing cervical and trunk support for safety. The dynamic movement requires the user to brace their core to counteract the forces from the swing, and freedom of movement for engagement of the lower extremities, the swinging that we talked about, and an upright body position to increase levels of social participation. We have a long-term goal of in 6 months, the client should be able to maintain a neutral pelvic tilt with a minimum spinal lateral deviation to engage in a play activity during recess for at least 5 minutes as reported by the OT. And a short-term goal to go along with this, in 3 months, client will maintain a neutral pelvic tilt with minimum spinal lateral deviation to engage in a play activity during recess for at least 2 minutes as reported by the OT. We ran into some frequently asked questions when showing our design to other people. Do you need to be a healthcare professional to use this device? No, it's very easy to set up, and there's no specific intervention that requires a level of clinical skill. Is it heavy? No, it's made out of plastic that's resistant to dropping in weather, but while not making it heavy, it's easy to fit in a car. Is there extra head support? Yes, there is. That's something that we added to our initial design. And that slides in and out so that if you need the cervical support, you have it, but if you want to remove it, you can, and it doubles as a handle as well. As far as marketability, we like to say, take it to go. We would market to children and families with cerebral palsy or other developmental delays, schools, YMCAs, camps, and expos and conferences. And it can be sold individually to businesses, public schools, and rec centers. And we think it would market well because there aren't any options out there that go on a pre-existing swing.